All right, shalom to the hopeful elect, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, call Haloyim La Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, all praises, honor and glory be to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, the God of heaven and earth, and the Son of the Most High. Double honor, as always, to Yah, to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, peace, love, blessings, and salutations to the hopeful elect, Habayath Madawadah, the house of David, the brothers laboring, giving all diligence on the four corners of the earth to make their calling of election sure, Habayath Madawadah, the house of David, and to the Akim Wahagwath, which are the brothers and sisters that also listen and believe on the glorious gospel of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua that's being preached worldwide. And to you I say shalom, shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. This is the brother Sakallah coming back with a quick lesson to the spirit. I don't want to desire this lesson is edifying for those that view the lesson. So let's jump right into it. The premise of the lesson is going to be from this article that you see here on the screen, which is from NBCnews.com and is dated September the 8th, 2022. And this is in light of the death of Queen Elizabeth and showing that, you know, with all of this support and condolences that's being sent throughout the earth from many people on the earth, that there is an opposition to the wicked, the men of the Lord, and there's people that the Most High has put the spirit on to speak against, you know, pushing this energy that this monarchy, this rule of the wicked, you know, has been a good thing for the earth. And that the Queen's 70 years on the throne, which has been the longest, that it was good it was good to the earth, and that it was a good thing. But first and foremost, it was a wicked thing to many that were oppressed, which are the children of Israel and other nations that have been exploited. But speaking of the children of Israel, these devils have, enjoyed generational wealth and power on the earth at the hand of the people of the Most High. So let's jump into it through the spirit. The title says Queen Elizabeth's death revives criticism of British legacy of colonialism. So the true legacy, you know, of Queen Elizabeth and her predecessors, and then those that are moving forward now, which is her son, Prince Charles. He's taken over as the King of England. Their true legacy is colonialism. Now, colonialism is the policy or practice of acquiring full or partial control over another country, occupying it with settlers and exploiting it economically. Yeah, that's how they seize power over the earth, you know, by going in and colonizing different parts of the earth, which America is one of the main places where that colonization went on. It also happened in many different parts of Africa, Northern, South, and Central Africa, and in Australia and New Zealand and different parts of the world, just to name a few. So this colonialism of the wicked, you know, is showing forth that this is truly their true legacy and their true history. So now let's read a little bit of this article and get a few precepts. It says critics are responding to the relationship of the monarchy to systems of oppression, which an oppression is what? Slavery, repression, and forced extraction of labor. And particularly it says African labor, which is the labor of the Israelites, right? And they have taken over those Hamites as well, but more specifically, the Israelites first and foremost. It says an exploitation of natural resources, enforcing systems of control in these places. One professor said. So all this has went on because of what? And we've seen this. Now this is saying in history that I have here that I just got queued up, and I learned this, you know, just coming up in history, that this is a saying. It says, is it true that the sun never set on the British Empire? Britain had an extremely vast empire during the heyday of colonialism. It says the saying, the empire on which the sun never sets, has been used to explain the vastness of the British Empire, which expands throughout all the earth. It says between the 18th and 20th century, the British Empire acquired more territories, making it the largest empire in history. And even to this day, even though certain nations, you know, have been given back, you know, their countries, so-called, Britain still has rule of over 15 nations still to this day. You know, in their heyday, it was 3 to 4 times, you know, as many countries, 50 countries or more, showing you the power and the vastness of power and how they took all the resources, which was colonialism, as we see. So now let's continue on. It says, as the death Thursday of Queen Elizabeth II prompted an outpouring of grief from millions across the world, it also revived criticism of her legacy, highlighting the complicated feelings of those who saw her as a symbol of British colonial empire, of the British colonial empire. It goes on to say an institution that enriched itself through violence, theft, and oppression. That's how they enriched themselves, right? Which we know today is generational wealth. They live by so-called white privilege, which is Edomite privilege. And that was by the hand of the children of Israel. So let's show that with a quick precept. This is the book of Sirach or Ecclesiasticus. And this is the 10th chapter. And the 8th verse, it says, because of unrighteous dealings, it says injuries and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people into another. That's why the fall, of the rule of the wicked, their kingdom, their rulership on the earth, is leaving them. That's why it is fleeing as we speak. The wicked is being what? The wicked is being destroyed, right? Is losing its power, is losing the grip of his power on the earth. And these devils here are at the forefront of that, of the wicked losing his power. So now, as we continue on, these unrighteous dealings was all the wickedness that was done unto the people of the Most High. And those were also the injuries and riches gotten by deceit, which was by lies and treachery. So now let's continue on. It goes on to say, if anyone expects me to express anything but disdain for the monarch who supervised a government that sponsored the genocide that massacred and displaced half my family and the consequences of which those alive today are still trying to overcome, you can keep wishing upon a star. Uja Anya, an associate professor of second language acquisition at Carnegie Mellon University, tweeted Thursday afternoon. Now, that was just a quick article, and I have another one here as well. Let's see if I can pull it up real quick. This is going on also into showing the opposition to the wicked, because there's all this, all these millions of people that's, giving support for the queen and speaking, gloating very highly about how great she was in her 70 years on the throne. But really, in the shadow of it all, the truth is coming forth, which that's really the spirit of Yahweh Shem Rashai in the earth that's pushing this energy for those that are speaking out. Now, this article here is from Teen Vogue, and it's dated the 8th as well, I believe. No, September the 9th, today. Now, it says, celebrating Queen Elizabeth II's death isn't, it says, disrespectful. Colonialism is. It's going into pretty much the same thing. I'll read a little bit and get a few more precepts. It says, following the death of Queen Elizabeth II, the United Kingdom's longest reigning monarch, it says, Twitter had a field day. As for me, a member of the Irish diaspora, it says, whose politics were developed by learning about Ireland's centuries of resistance to British colonialism, I had the dancing crabs queer for this news. Unsurprisingly, the celebration of someone's death, a mother, a grandmother, and great-grandmother, and a fan of Corgis, was called disrespectful by those who wanted to make the day one of mourning. No matter the pomp and circumstance of the royal family, I've never had a warm or fuzzy relationship to the figurehead of the British monarch or the British Empire. The legacy of British colonialism is everywhere. It says, I would not be an American today if my grandma hadn't left Ireland, and she wouldn't have left Ireland if her dad could have gotten a job there, or if they felt safe to continue living in Belfast without the threat of over-policing and discrimination, all of which are modern byproducts of Ireland being Britain's first colony. So, we know there's a portion of the Irish that are Israelites. Not all of them, but there are some that are in Ireland that are Israelites, right? Because there were a lot of, going back to, King James, who was a so-called black man that sat on the throne, right? He and other Israelites, we ruled in Europe, right? So there's Israelites that's all over Europe, and some look like Edomites. Now, I'm not going to get any more. This kind of got what I wanted, but the point is, going back to the article, the point is that the Queen's death, is showing forth and bringing back up the whole understanding and ideal that this has been wickedness. This rule has been nothing but wickedness on the earth, right? The rule of the wicked. right? It's being brought forth and being brought back up, you know? So now let's show that. Salakia. See if I can get that. So now let's show that further. This is the book. Let's just start here. Job 9:24. I'll quote it. Job 9:24 tells us the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. So the wicked is the children of Edom that's ruling. When you read in Malachi, the first chapter, I'll quote it as well. Malachi 1:4 tells us what? That Edom would be known as the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Most High, Yahweh Shai, would have indignation, which is righteous anger forever. So the Most High tells us throughout the Bible, Romans the 9th chapter, that he hates the Edomites. Malachi the first chapter as well. Jacob have I loved, Esau have I hated, the children of Edom. Now, as we continue on, let's continue to show that hatred of the children of Edom that is on the earth today. Still, that hatred, the children of Edom, is by way of who? Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. All right, so now let's get that. This is the book of Micah, right? It's the book of Micah 2 and verse 1. It says, woe to them that devise iniquity. So all the plans when you read in Psalm the 83rd chapter that push forth, the slavery of the children of Israel was the devising of iniquity. And this was headed by the Edomites when we continue to read. It says, and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. They've been given the power to do what? To fulfill prophecy, which one of the major prophecies throughout the Bible is that the children of Israel will go forth into slavery, into captivity by the hand of the wicked, the Edomites, in the last days. And then Jacob will overcome Esau in the last days, which is going to be by way of the fall of this man's system, his rule over the earth, and by the destruction of the nuclear missiles, and Yahweh Shai coming to give, to free the captives, which are the children of Israel, from the hand of the wicked. Now it says, because it is in the power of their hand, so this has been given by the Most High. Micah 2:2, and they covet fields, showing you, the MO, the mindset of the wicked, as it says in Job 9:24, that the earth has been given into the hand of the wicked. So with them having power over the earth, what have they done? And they covet fields, they covet lands, nations, and take them by violence, which we read the same thing in Ecclesiasticus 10:8, or Sirach 10:8. So they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. And that's how they acquire, North, South, and Central America. Once again, Australia, New Zealand, and different parts of Africa and other places on the earth. And they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. And they've taken away the heritage of the children of Israel, right? So now, let's continue to show that. What does that mean? This is the book of Psalm 17 and verse 13. And it reads, arise, O Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down. Deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. So the wicked, who the earth has been given into the hand of, is the sword of the Most High. Verse 14, Psalm 17 and 14, from men which are thy hand, O Yahweh, from men of the world, which have their portion in this life, and this is their portion, right? They dwell, in with great riches. They have all that the earth, has to give. They've acquired rule and power, the resources and the riches. So these are the men that have their portion in this life. They've been given, this portion by Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, which is prophecy. When you go back to Esau and him dwelling in the fatness of the earth, right? It says, in whose belly thou fillest with thy hid treasure, which are the Israelites. When you go to Psalm 83, Israel is known as the hidden ones. That's the hid treasure. They are full of children and leave the rest of their substance to their babes. So they leave their substance over throughout the generations, which is why this monarchy, the rule of the British Empire, has been so powerful on the earth. They've done nothing but transfer their wealth over. The queen died, and guess what? King Charles now is taking over. And if he dies, then his son will take over from there, and so on and so forth. So that shows their substance has been left to their babes. Now, let's continue to touch on a few more precepts. Speaking about, the wicked. This is James 5:1. Now, the subtitle or the title of this chapter is the misuse of riches. The misuse of riches. James 5:1, and it reads, "Go to now, ye rich men," and who are those rich men? Speaking about the wicked, the elite and the British, royal family, so-called, along with the elites, the Gettys, the DuPonts, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers. Hey, they really are all, connected, right? Which these are the elite of Esau. James 5:1, "Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you." And why are they going to weep and howl? Because they're going to be put into captivity. As it says in Jeremiah 30:16, all of our adversaries, every one of them will go into captivity. And it also tells you in Deuteronomy, the 30th chapter, in the 7th verse, that all of these curses that will be upon the children of Israel will come back unto our enemies. James 5:2, "Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rest of them shall be a witness against you." This is the fall of the wicked and his system, right? Him losing all of his power. "And shall eat your flesh as it were fire," which is going to be the missiles. "Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days," and that's what they've done. They've heaped together the gold and silver, all the goodly, pleasant things, a lot of the resources of the earth, right? They've heaped this together for the last days. They've hoarded these things to themselves so they can do what? Continue to pass down their wealth unto their generations, unto their babes. James 5:4, "Behold the hire of the laborers," and who are the laborers? The children of Israel, right? The ones that were, given over to slavery through colonialism. "Behold the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields." These have been the ones that done what? These are your cash cows. The children of Israel, the free labor for hundreds of years, "which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of Hadawan of Sabbath oaths." So the Lord of Sabbath oaths, Yahweh Yahushai, is hearing the cries of the righteous, the children of Israel. James 5:5, "You have lived in pleasure on the earth." These Edomites have lived in great pleasure, as in the parable of Lazarus and the rich man. They have lived in great pleasure and have been wanton, meaning everything that they've wanted to do, they've coveted fields and taken them by violence. They went and oppressed many nations and many people, and especially the children of Israel. "Ye have nourished your hearts as in a day of slaughter." They've done all they wanted to do because that power was given to them by Yahweh Yahushai, once again to fulfill prophecy. James 5:6, "Ye have condemned and killed the just of the children of Israel." And it says, "And he doth not resist you." There was nothing that we could do because, once again, this was all divine. This was all by the will of the Most High. This was all, divine. This was all by the will of the Most High. It was nothing that could be done for prophecy not to be fulfilled, which the Edomites call it manifest destiny. They believe that this was given to them by the Most High, which in one sense that's true. But it wasn't for them to rule over the children of Israel indefinitely or forever. That's where they go wrong at. Now let's show that. This is the book of Psalm 73:1. "Truly the Most High is good to Israel, even to such as are of a clean heart." So the Most High is good to those that have a clean heart, which is the elect that's returning. Psalm 73:2, "But as for me, my feet were almost gone. My steps had well nigh slipped. For I was envious at the foolish." And who are the foolish? Pertaining to Job, the 30th chapter, the children of fools is speaking of the Edomites. The Edomites are known as children of fools, base men. Psalm 73:3, "For I was envious at the foolish," which is the wicked, the children of Edom, "when I saw the prosperity of the prosperity of the wicked," meaning the wicked flourishing on the earth, as it says in the book of Psalm, the 37th chapter, I believe. It tells you that the wicked would spread himself, like a green bay tree. King David saw the wicked flourishing, on the earth, and through the Spirit. Continuing on, Psalm 73:4, "For there are no bands in their death. Their strength is firm. They are not in trouble as other men." See, they're the ones ruling. They don't have the same worries as the children of Israel. The children of Israel, what? They are known as the meek, the humble, the poor, the lowly, right? They're the ones that are destitute. Continuing on, that's why Yahushua said what? "I know thy poverty, but thou art rich." The children of Israel would be the ones that would be in slavery, which is why we need Yahweh Shai to come deliver us out of slavery. There's no way we would get out of it, which is how this system has been set up worldwide. This pit has been set up so that we will remain, by the nations underneath the children of Edom and the other nations. So that's why it's so important that we return to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, because Yahweh Shai is the only one that's been designated by the Heavenly Father to actually free the children of Israel out of captivity. So it says they are not in trouble as other men. And why is that? Because once again, they've taken and put the children of Israel into hardcore bondage and captivity. Let's show that. Hosea 5:5, and it reads, "And the pride of Israel, Yasha'Allah, doth testify to his face. Therefore shall Israel and Ephraim fall in their iniquity. Judah, Yahweh also shall fall with them." So it says in their iniquity. That was turning away from serving Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai and also serving other gods and not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, which was a covenant sprinkled in blood. Right? So all the tribes fell together. This is Jeremiah 50:33. It says, "Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the children of Yasha'Allah and the children of Yahweh, Judah, were oppressed together," showing that right here in America, all the tribes were brought together and were oppressed together. It says, "And all that took them captives, to be captive is to be a slave, held them fast. They refused to let them go, and we're still in the hand of the wicked." Let's continue to show that this is by the hand of the wicked. Joel 3:1, "For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah, which is Yahweh, and Jerusalem, Yerushalayim, which the Most High is taking away our captivity now." We're in the times of being delivered. That's going to be how the Most High is going to take away the captivity of the children of Israel. Joel 3:2, "I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, which is Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, Yasha'Allah, whom they have scattered among the nations." And how will we scatter? Through the transatlantic, Arab, Dutch, and Native American slave trade. It says, "And parted my land." That's our land, the land of Israel, right? It's been given over into the hand of the heathen. Joel 3:3, "And they have cast lots for my people," speaking of the true history of the children of Israel born into slavery, "and have given a boy for an harlot and sold a girl for wine that they may drink." Verse 4, Joel 3:4, "Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coast of Palestine? Will ye render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head," which these nations are going to be repaid for all the wickedness that they've done, right? Once again, pertaining to Psalm, the 83rd chapter. Joel 3:5, "Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things." Verse 6, in the point, "The children also of Judah, Yahweh, and the children of Yerushalayim, Judah, Jerusalem, have ye sold unto the Grecians." And who are the Grecians? The Edomites, right? The Romans, Greco-Roman history is merged because they are brethren. These are the Edomites in the Bible, right? Also known as the Idumeans, which is a Greek word for Edom, which they call themselves Europeans today, so-called white people. It says, "Ye have sold," it says, "and ye have sold them unto the Grecians," showing our history right here, "that ye might remove them far from their border." And that's how we were removed far from our border, by the hand of the Edomites and the nations coming together to oppress the children of Israel. So now, let's continue on. This is the book of Psalm. This is the book of Salakia. This is the book of Revelation. This is the book of Revelation. Well, now let's get this. Daniel 9, and starting at verse Daniel 9, and let's start at verse 10. It says, "Neither have we obeyed the voice of Yahweh our power," and we didn't obey the law, statutes, and commandments, which is the voice of the Heavenly Father, "to walk in his laws, which he set before us," it says, "which he set before us," Salakia, "by his servants, the prophets." Continuing on, "Yea, all Israel have transgressed the law." It says, "By even departing," it says, "by even departing, that they might not obey thy voice." And our people did not obey the voice of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Yahushai. So now continuing on, it says, "Therefore the curse is poured out upon us, And those are the curses of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, and Leviticus, the 26th chapter. And the oath that is written in the law of Moses, Mashah, the servant of the Most High, because we have sinned against him. Verse 12, and he hath confirmed his words, which was given us over into the hands of the wicked, allowing us to go through slavery, as it says in Baruch, the 4th chapter. We be given unto the nations, not for our destruction, but because we moved the Most High to wrath. It says, and he hath confirmed his words, which he spake against us and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil, which was slavery. For under the whole heaven have not been done as have been done upon Jerusalem, which is the children of Israel. So that great evil that's done, it was not done, like it was done unto the children of Israel. There's no other nation that can sit and say, or try to push, an energy or a false narrative that what was done to the children of Israel was not the worst that was done throughout all of history, right? Because you'll have these nations that will try to speak about, what happened to the Ish people, the small round hat people during the time of Hitler, etc., and these other nations and other people. But look at 400 plus years, of slavery of the children of Israel. And more than that, look at all the different captivities, the Assyrians, the Romans, the Greeks, all the other nations, the Moabites, the Ammonites, all the places, Egypt going all the way back, all the captivities, the Babylonians. So what has been done to the children of Israel, there has not been any equal, meaning it's been the worst thing that ever happened on the earth, the greatest evils on the earth, which were what was done to the children of Israel. So now I got another precept just going into this so-called monarch, right? The rule of the wicked. Because the scriptures tell you in the book of Psalm, that shall the throne of iniquity, Psalm 94:20, shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, with frame of mischief by their laws. And that throne of iniquity is the rule of the wicked. And I have it here in Revelation 17:11. It says, and the beast that was and is not, speaking of a system of governance, which is America, NATO, and the EU today, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th and is of the 7th and goeth into perdition, which is America, is the 8th, and he came out of who? Great Britain, right? Which the sun could never set, on the British Empire, as we see here on the screen. So let's read that again. Revelation 17:11, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, which is America, and is of the 7th. Because the way America came into being is through the colonial, colonialism that was taking place by way of the settlers coming, going back to the time of Martin Luther, etc., coming to the Americas and colonizing, North, South, and Central America. So that 8th is America, that's of the 7th, which is of Britain, because that's where they came out of. It was out of Britain. That started the colonization. It says, and goeth into perdition. So death and destruction is what's coming to the wicked. So with that, I hope that was edifying. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Call Halal Yahweh. Call Halal Yahweh Shai. I want to give infinite honor and glory and praises to Yahweh. By Hashem Yahweh Shai. By Hashem Rakakwadash. Double honor to the elder apostles of Great Millstone. Peace, love, blessings, and salutations to the hopeful elect. Habayath Madabada, the house of David, the brothers laboring day in and day out, giving all diligence to make their calling of election sure, helping seal the elect of the nation of Israel, for the return of our Lord and Mashiach Yahushai is at hand, and to the Akim Waf, which are the brothers and sisters that also listen and believe on the glorious gospel of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai that's being preached throughout all the earth. And to you, I say Shalom.